Want to hear one of the most unhinged things I've ever done? This is going to sound like it's the plot of a book. It's not. This is actually real true life. It was after college. I can't believe I'm letting the internet into this horrifying part of my life. After college, I was into this guy, and he was not really into me. I mean, he was into me if there was nobody else around, but that was the extent. Anyway, we got in a fight, and I everything was ended, and that should have been where I let it go, but I didn't. I actually really wanted to talk to him, but I couldn't talk to him because we were not on speaking terms. So I drove over to the CD store that was right next to the restaurant that he worked at, because I knew he was working that night. And I knew that sometimes he would come out on his breaks and go over to the CD store because it was right next to where he worked. And I went in and I hung out in that CD store, kept on like looking at CDs, pretending I was going to buy something. And then I'd like walk out of the store to like try to time myself into maybe bumping into him, and it didn't work. So I went back into the store and I pretended to look at CDs again. And then I came walking out again, like trying to like, am I just like standing here on the curb right at the same time that he gets out of the restaurant? No, it didn't work. It didn't work. So I get in my car, I go home, but I'm halfway home and I'm like, but maybe now he's about ready to get off work. I'm going to try again. So I went, this is like stalking, this is like obsessive behavior. So I drive back to the CD store and I like shop again. This time I actually bought something because they'd seen me so many times during the night that I felt like I had to do something. So I bought the CD and I came walking out. And this time, you guys, it worked. I bumped into him and he's like, hey, you're here. And then as soon as he saw me, I was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, I'm sorry. And then we like, whatever, we're back to the situationship that we were in. It was not really great that I fixed things with this guy because it was not a great relationship. But I was lonely and desperate, and those were the things I did in my early days. Later on, a dozen years later, when I sat down to write one of my first romance novels, I took that same feeling of really being obsessed with a guy and really being desperate for his attention, and the way that I wanted to like do anything to fix the things between us, all those like really ugly, old, mentally unwell feelings that I had, and I put it into this series. It's the Fix series, and it's one of my best-selling series. Actually, it is the best-selling series that I have. So if you're interested in girls that are like really angsty, emotional, into men, and if you're into the possessive men that might be just perfect for that kind of girl, then check out this series. It's in my shop, and I'd love to have you be a reader.